I'm a huge fan of, and so many are, of Chuck Berry, and his son is out and talking about new music that is coming out. And Charles Berry Jr. is actually on the line right now. Good morning, sir. Thanks for coming on the air.
Well, good morning to you. How are you?
I'm wonderful, and so tell me what's happening. So is there music that's coming out that's new?
Oh, yeah. In fact, it's out.
It's out.
June 9th. Yeah, the newest album from my dad, Chuck, was released on Dual Tone Records, and it's been doing very well. The fans love it.
Yeah.
So far, there's nothing. I've seen nothing but good reviews. And not to brag or anything, but that's typical of my dad's music. It just makes people want to start dancing and makes them want to have fun. And this one lives up to those expectations.
Of course, we're sorry about the loss of your dad, who died this year at the age of 90 in March. But what a legend! Yeah. What an amazing gift he left behind.
Yes, he worked on this one for 38 years.
Wow.
Off and on, and in the midst of that, about 10 years in, the studio that he had at the house burned to the ground, so he lost 10 years worth of music in that whole thing. So he had to start over, but yeah, he really, really enjoyed recording music. Yeah. He really enjoyed writing the whole thing, and of course, he really absolute love was playing music live. So.
Well,
it was a long process, but he pulled it off.
Did you travel at all with your dad when he when he played?
Oh yeah. Traveled a lot with him. I got to go all over Europe, South America, United States. I guess the furthest was the Canary Islands, just off the coast of Africa. Did 2 shows there, but no, yeah, I got to travel for about 14 years all over the world with my father. It was fantastic.
I thought I had read that. I think you play a little bit, but you weren't. You were in the band, but you weren't on stage. Like, talk about the relationship and how you were involved in the last 15 years.
Oh, okay, sure. Well, I would have still been running my IT business if it hadn't been for the unfortunate death of my brother-in-law, Chuck Clay. My sister's Ingrid, who's also in the band, fabulous vocalist and harmonica, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, he died. He was my dad's rhythm guitarist. He could also play drums. He pretty much could play any instrument that he wanted. He unfortunately died in 2000. And so my dad comes to his 39-year-old, soon-to-be 40-year-old son, namely me. Well, anytime you want to get up on stage, man, and sit in with us, just come on up.
Yeah.
Well, I had guitars since I was a little kid, but I never really pursued it. I really liked guitars just because I thought they were cool looking. I could play great air guitar the whole bit, but I never could really play.
Yeah.
So they basically, my dad, my sister, Jimmy Marsalis, my dad's bass player for 40 years, Bob Lord, keyboard player of 18 years, and Keith Robinson, drummer for 10. They taught me how to be a musician. They really did. Wow. They taught me how to play. They taught me how to, smile while I was on stage the whole shooting match.
Your son also, who's Charles the Third, also plays on several tracks on this album, right?
Yes, and he's turning out to be a real guitar slinger, as we call them.
Wow.
He eats, drinks, and sleeps guitar, man. He was playing his guitar before he went to work this morning.
Well, certain things skip a generation, so, I mean, that makes sense.
He loves doing it. He absolutely loves doing it. So we did the Jimmy Fallon show in New York City almost 3 weeks ago now. We were Nathaniel Rateliff's sidemen. Jimmy invited Nathaniel on the radio on the show.
Yeah.
He says, "Well, I want to do Chuck's song Big Boys." It got back to us. I jokingly told them, "Oh, well, that means some Barry should be up there too." Next thing I know, myself and my son are in New York at the NBC studios doing the show.
That's cool. Hey, there's a song on the new album, which of course Johnny B. Goode is one of the most famous songs of all time. But there's a song that is a bit of a sequel to Johnny Be Good, right?
Yeah, well, Lady Be Good.
Lady Be Good.
This one is my dad's opportunity to give the ladies' perspective on much of the same storyline. It's funny, it's humorous as always. My dad, he had a way with words, and this one lives up to that standard.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. That's one that my son plays. Myself and my son, we do some solo work on. And, of course, my father throughout, of course, it's a Chuck Berry song. There's always a Chuck Berry guitar on.
And I've heard stories where your dad would come in and sometimes not be with the band, and there'd be a band, let's say he's playing in Buffalo, and and they hired your dad to come in, and they would supply a band for him, and he would walk in, and he would just say, okay, follow me, and he'd play, and the band would play along with him, no rehearsal, nothing. Do you confirm that story to be true?
Oh, no, that is true. But now, that wasn't by the choice of my father. My father's contract, his contracts for, musical engagements, 1 page long. And all the specifications as to the length of the show, what needs to be on the stage. And it also says, and I need people that can play my music.
Yeah.
Now, yeah. Okay, so then look at it, guys. You got a promoter that's looking at it. Okay, I've got these local guys here. Sometimes those local guys turned out to be like Bruce Springsteen in the E Street Band.
Yeah, yeah.
But, it could be anybody.
Yep.
So the promoters were like, either I can fly Chuck's band in.
Or we'll use local guys, yeah.
And all those expenses, or I can just find these local folks. Now, they're capitalists like everybody else. It's like, I could save some money by getting these other these local guys.
Did your dad ever see? Did your dad ever see one of those guys and say, you know what, you're the real deal. I'm going to bring you along on other shows?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. John Paris, who is a guitarist, he does regular shows every Monday at BB King's in New York City. My dad was playing the East Coast. Mm-hmm. There was an opening act, or there was a band that the promoter hired. That first band was terrible. John came in, convinced the promoters, like, hey, I've got some guys that can do it. They came in. My dad was so impressed with them. He's like, you know what? Whenever I'm playing the East Coast, if the timing's right, I want you guys to be my band.
Wow.
So he kind of standardized. Now, I guess that last 15 some odd years, he really started just using us. He just put in his contract, no, I want my band to be with me where I'm going. But he still did occasionally go out by himself.
Did he ever finally trust? Because it was always about people, back in the day, the money wasn't always there the way it was supposed to be. And there's this legendary story that he'd come out and he'd say, put the money in the guitar case, and that's when he would play. Did he ever, is that true? And did he get to the point where there was, like you guys were along and he could trust promoters?
Yes, to the first question. No, to the second one.
No. Okay. You just can't trust them.
But now it went from, put the money in the guitar case to, okay, I'm sitting at the house, wire the money to my bank account. When it clears, send the plane tickets. We'll be there.
Got it. Okay. Well, listen, he reached that status and then some. There's no doubt about it. The album, which is out now, is called Chuck. And it's in stores. It's on iTunes, Amazon.com. And, of course, the website is chuckberry.com.
Yes, and it can also be found on dualtone.com. That's the record label's website.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, it's a pleasure talking to you. And I just can't tell you enough how much of a fan I am of your dad and his music and his guitar work and everything else. It's really quite amazing. So,
thank you very much.
Thank you for taking the time with us, and I hope this album's selling like hotcakes for you.
All righty. Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much. It's Charles Berry Jr., the son of Chuck Berry. Pretty cool.